Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wired for Wonder. My name is Lori Kirkland, and I'm with DeepHumanX. And we are excited today to be back and talking about how AI is disrupting work and what the future of work could look like for all of us humans involved. Today, we are honored and lucky to have founder and CEO of a stealth AI startup, Praveen Mamidi. Welcome to the show, Praveen.
Thank you, Lori. Thanks for inviting me over. I'm glad to be here and happy to chat.
Great. And why don't you give our audience just a brief kind of, some of your background of how you got to where you are today? What
Yeah,
you're
sure.
most passionate
Yeah, absolutely. So again, I'm Praveen Mamidi. Was born and raised in India, and then I moved to US for my master's in Chicago, and I worked at BlackBerry, and then I moved to Bay Area to work at eBay and PayPal. I was with PayPal for 15 years, and then worked at another fintech startup in San Francisco for 3 years. And in all of my career, I was focused on fintech side, risk compliance, engineering, AI, machine learning, customer service technologies, and financial technologies. Currently, I am building my own startup, which is focused again in AI and fintech, fighting fraud.
Oh, that's good. And that's so exciting. And what a interesting background for those who are not as blessed with the technology experience that Praveen has. You have all the technology constraints and regulations on top of, if you add fintech on it, you have even more regulations and hoops to jump for. And that also provides a lot of background, right? Of having to think about what could happen and could the future, what could the future hold, which is why we think you're going to be such a valuable guest today. As we get into the episode, one of the things that I think is most interesting to me as a human being is thinking about the change that AI is bringing to the workplace. I just love your perspective about what do you think, from the human perspective, is something that is right around the corner that is going to be impactful for humans.
With AI change, I think everything is going to get impacted, especially both our personal as well as professional lives, right? I would treat AI as a co-pilot for every single human being, right? Pretty much everybody has is on their phones, and that means you already have AI assistant on your phone, right? Whether it is simple mails, your calendar, your scheduling, your travel, everyday tasks. It's all being handled or helped in a way by AI. So yeah, there is a lot of impact on the both and even the professional level, right? In last 2 years, there's like so much changed. If you are a programmer now, you don't have to start programming from scratch. Like AI can give you the programs then and there, and now with vibe coding, things are going to be easier to get started for sure.
Yeah, right. Like really, AI is providing all of us with what, no matter if we're in tech or not, right? Kind of that first draft to really jumpstart and expand our thinking and take us into more imagination, more innovation than we've ever been able to, at least in my lifetime. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah.
Um, as you were talking, it made me think of not only programmers, but other people, right, who are still fearful of AI, who are worried about their jobs going away. And the idea of, oh my gosh, I'm already stressed out enough. And you're talking about adding more AI. In your opinion, do you think that AI is going to tie us to our screens more, or do you think there's an opportunity for AI to actually incorporate differently?
It's both. Unfortunately, there would be some impact to some of the roles that traditionally been played by humans. It's like when I mean 20, 30 years ago when the computers became mainstream, right? There was some change, or there was some job losses in certain areas, right? And similarly now, even with AI advancements, definitely there is going to be some impact. But again, there's going to be new openings as well, right? As with every evolution, for example, the middle management layers, right? And that will be like impacted, or a lot of the administrative related works that people used to do. Unfortunately, they will be limited or eliminated in a way, right? And also, a lot of the clerical work, or the documentation work that people used to do, it will
Mhm.
be eliminated in a way. But then that means there is going to be new opportunities that is going to open up uh, with AI, whether it could be to especially in healthcare or in finance, in other areas, right? With healthcare, with AI now, you have more opportunities to do research on some of these. Uh, it could be cancers, or it could be any other diseases that people were having very difficult to find the root causes, or find a medication and do the research. Now with advent of AI, and also quantum computing and all of that, it's going to get better and faster.
I mean,
Similarly,
that's oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just going to say, similarly, even in the finance and fintech world, fraud fighting is going to get improved with AI advancements, right? And even other areas like the quality of the life definitely will be better. You will have more free time to do things that you want to do instead of spending time writing something or doing something else.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of you touched on so much there, which is exciting because I also see like AI is this is a moment of change for humanity, which could be really, really awesome. And it doesn't really have to be that scary if we get humans that are accountable for looking at that and understanding that, yeah, some of the administrative tasks, probably the part of your jobs that you don't like, those can be actually automated. But at the same time, like I feel like there's this opportunity for us to bring more purpose into work. And by purpose, what I mean is like doing work that like excites us. If you can get some of your administrative work taken off your plate, like you mentioned, programmers, right? Like you may not need to spend as long of a time in being a junior developer as long as you may have in the past, because AI is going to be able to do a lot of that stuff. But we're still going to have that need for human critical thinking, which could then unleash a whole lot of new types of thinking to solve much bigger problems. Is that kind of what you were saying when you were talking about cancer? Like, right? Like we can all of a sudden look at
Absolutely.
much bigger problems that we're just, we don't have the time or capacity to do it right now.
Yeah, absolutely, right. Now you have time to think about, I would say, to ask more questions, right? Hey, why did we did that? Why didn't we do that? Why didn't it work? Why didn't, if you take healthcare, why didn't this kind of treatment work, right? Or how did it work? On how many people it worked? Earlier, to do that research for each question, like you had to have people spend countless hours of time to do that research for you. Now you could do it in minutes or hours, right? Or even similarly, in if you look at fraud in financial world, right? Now you could do all of that research in matter of minutes or hours instead of days and months, right? So it leaves a lot of room for people to ask questions. The asking questions is still done by humans though, so that's very important.
Yeah. No, no, no. I'm with you. I feel like going into the future, leaders are going to have to understand that even the questions they ask their team need to be changed. And AI is the perfect um, catalyst of change, because you are going to have, if you don't change the questions you're asking a chatbot or you're asking your team to do, you're going to end up getting some bland answers. Whereas if you start actually almost just adopting the very natural human curious mindset, right? Like if you really get into it, then we have these possibilities to, I don't know, do some really cool things for humanity, which is great. Um, I know you posted at some point, you posted about interpretability from Anthropic, and your profile. And just for a layman, can you explain to us what that even means and why that might be a concern?
Yeah, in simple words, it means understanding what AI is doing, right? Today, I mean, at least as of today, when we are talking now, a lot of these models are still black box. Black box in the sense that we don't know what is inside, right? So where the CEO of Anthropic, uh, he really called out really good and important points out there, that we need to understand what each and every AI model is doing, right? So that we make sure that it is doing responsibly, right, and it's doing ethically, right? Otherwise, we'll end up into this black box of not knowing if the AI is actually biased towards something, right, or if the AI is ethically correct or incorrect, right? So to understand all of that, you need to know the inner understandings of the models, which is nothing but the interpreting.
I love that. And I actually think it's a exciting question that us as humans often don't like to look at, but what's also our inner workings, right? Like what are the things that we individually aren't aware of, right? If because you become aware of them, then all of a sudden the problem can go away, so to speak, or it doesn't make it quite as scary when you start putting pieces together in that black box. So I actually and at DeepHumanX, we believe this too, right? There's a really strong connection between how the brain works and our desire for control and how AI works, meaning that as humans, we have to become a little bit more curious and be open to, we are not going to know all the answers. Nobody knows the answers of where everything's going, but it is important to ask the questions, and it is important to become aware of ourselves as we're using the technology.
Yes, exactly. It's as we do our self learning, we need to learn about the AI that we are using. So that's where it becomes very important, to
Yeah.
understand the inners of every single AI systems that we are dealing with.
Okay, so now this is going to be a dreamer question, but if you were to think of, right, something in your own life, like you're creating your own startup, which is amazing, about to be put into the known, but is still unknown at this point. What are some of the things that you're envisioning that would be different than the status quo of what the workplace looks like today?
A lot of the things I would say. Number one is there is I don't know, like if you or any of have seen. I believe it was Sam Altman, OpenAI CEO. At one point, he said, with AI in future, not even like far, with probably next 3 to 4 years, there can be $1 billion company with only one person working,
I did see
right?
that, and I that is so fascinating.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even if we don't reach one person, maybe we'll reach 10 people, right? But still, there's a lot. Even now, with my own personal experience, when I did want to do this, the startup that I'm working on, the initial proof of concept, I was able to do it on my own, right?
Hmm.
And I have seen a lot of other people do at least this proof of concepts on your own, right? And that's number one. Number two, for the research, I didn't have to talk to multiple people, right? I mean, from the customer side, definitely, but on the research side, okay, does this kind of system exist? If it exists, what are the shortcomings of that, or if it doesn't exist, what is the market for that, who is looking for it, are there any kind of incidents that I can address? All this research is immediately available for me with using AI, right? That's number one. And number two is again, the writing the code, building these systems, and even the simple thing as like when I talk to the investors or when I talk to the customers, like how do I refine my pitch, right? Earlier it used to be like I talk to 10 people, then take the feedback and then rewrite and all of that. But now I can use AI as my sounding board to understand where I can improve better, right? Those and any of the manual tasks that you should do, like for example the budget management, right?
Mhm.
That I can delegate it to AI. My time management, I can delegate it to AI. I know where I can leave some gaps. The calendar, right? My mailbox. There are some like emails that I want to get to immediately, and I know that the answers are going to be some kind of template based. Then I delegate it to AI. I don't even have to worry about that. So like many this administrative related tasks I can easily delegate.
So, Ravine, you just rattled off so many use cases, which is great because I know people are still talking in the marketplace like AI is way out in the future, but Praveen did a great job of giving so many examples that you don't need big companies to come in and teach you to do. You literally need to open up, a chat GPT, so any large language model, and just start asking the question, how can I manage my time, my calendar automatically? Right? It doesn't take a lot to just start to see what the technology can do. Um, which is great because that means that then we get more time for like what humans are really good at, which is thinking big, is being very strategic, is looking for, solutions across things. And, something that AI can't do right now. Like, yes, we're getting some reasoning models and all of that, but there's not the capability to think up completely, out of the box crazy things. The human mind is so evolutionized to do that. And so as we move into this AI stage, or, AI really becoming more part of the common workplace, I'm excited to see what humans can do. Um, I
And
want to ask you, or go ahead.
yeah, just to say, most importantly, human can spend their time with their family. Right
Right?
now, I free up like at least an hour a day, for example, by using AI. I could spend with my family. Right, I don't need to do anything. I just close everything down, then spend that extra hour with my family. That's the most valuable time I can never get back.
Right.
And
And where did we lose that along the workway that we can't, like, that we should give up family time? I mean, it sometimes it amazes me, even after like the pandemic, that we have this work model of everything should be for work, when the truth is I don't know, Praveen, how much happier are you now that you have an extra hour with your family every day?
oh yeah, I mean that's like boost for me, and daily dosage of inspiration for me, especially when you're building the startup, right? You have constant ups and downs every day. Now spending time with my kids and my family is what recharges me every day, and that I look forward for that 1 hour using AI tools. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like that. A constant dose of inspiration. So then you can actually do your job better because you've filled up yourself to be able to get through your own ups and downs, right?
Yeah,
By having that family time. That's
yeah,
awesome. And that's, when I think about the future of work, that's what I think about. I think about us being able to thinking about being able to spend more time with customers, less time fixing problems, because we may not have as many problems if we don't have is, right, if we can look at data and solve problems that customers are asking initially in ways that we just didn't even see as a human being, because we either didn't have the right training or we didn't have the right experience. But now everybody has access to the same sets of data, so there's this like, um yeah, I keep coming back to, it's going to be humans who create the most awesome stuff, or it's going to be humans who create negative, damaging things towards the rest of humanity. But I'm kind of excited about, what we could do as humans, especially when you talk about stuff like spending more time with the people, spending more time with our customers, spending more time with our family, and just having some maybe less mental stress. What do you
yeah,
think about that?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Good, good. So as we go into this, and you are thinking about, your own startup, what's something that you see that from potentially your customers or just the fintech world? What are some different ways of thinking that you think you could give advice to other fintech leaders on the business side? Maybe not so as much the tech, but what would you give them to start thinking about, advice to start thinking about, so that they can really take advantage of the change AI is bringing?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So, AI is great for sure, right? But if you use it correctly, right? So, see, we are a startup, right? So, and ever since we started this, we have started using AI. So, in a way, it is intertwined in us. Like, even my current small team, we all know, and we all work with AI and all. But with bigger businesses or anyone, I would say that they need to be careful of few things. Number one, uh, is the culture ready? right? The cultural readiness in the company. That's number one, because as you bring AI, see, AI has got it has brought this, hey, I can get help, it's going to change, save my time and all of that as an individual. But as an employee of a bigger company, you're kind of scared, right? Oh, if AI comes, am I going to lose my job, right? So that is, and especially with the current market, with the layoffs that are happening now, every
Mhm.
single employee in any of the large organizations is scared about their role, right? So as a cultural readiness is something that business leaders should think. Number two is strategy. It's not like hey, we have AI, like bring it and do it, right? You need to develop that right strategy on what do we want with AI, and how do we want it, and where do you want to deploy it, and what is the outcome that we want to see with each deployment, right? Otherwise, you end up spending millions of dollars for nothing. And then,
And I think businesses, the business side of any business needs to understand that now, that this is no longer a tech is over here. You've got to be thinking together. So it's going to take leaders who are experienced in the business to be thinking about, okay, if all this list of 2000 stuff gets done, what are we going to give our employees to do next with their free time?
exactly.
What are the bigger goals we want to accomplish? And that's different. That's different than having a short list that's very certain that you might report on quarterly and it feels like you're getting active. But if machines can come in and do all of that, we need leaders to be make sure that the culture is ready and strategic. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I know you have another one, but I just wanted to add that because you got me
So
thinking.
it's actually a very good point, right? That makes me think of something, right? Instead of asking what AI can do, I think the business leaders, to your point, the business leaders should ask the employees, hey, if you have something that is absolutely you don't want to do on a daily basis because it's taking your time, but that is like a must do for you, can we use AI to give you that time back so that you could you could just wrap up your work in time and don't have to spend weekends and late hours every day, right? Is it something that do you want to do, right?
Yes. Right?
Right.
Like start with getting rid of the mundane tasks that like
Exactly.
suck your soul. You know what I mean? Like I think that there's going to be a leadership shift that needs to say not in these words, but something along the lines of like chase your joy. Get rid of the pain points for yourself because then we can all then you have the capacity to start looking at things that the organization probably wants, the individuals absolutely want, and the future is going to be much more ready for it in the next couple of years.
Yeah. And then going back to the point, that's strategy, and the third one I would definitely look for is guardrails on AI, right? When I say guardrails, you need to make sure that if how do you verify that AI is doing your task within the constraint or within your own business guidelines, right? What are the guardrails that you're gonna put? I'll give you like a lot of examples, but one in the interest of time, I'll give you one. Right? Let's say you are using AI for your programmers to do assist. Right now, if you don't have clear guardrails, if you don't have clear framework on how to do that, what will happen is this year and next year with advent of AI, probably people can do 50-60% of their coding using AI, right? But if they are not careful, if you have 10 developers and every developer has their own style, right, and their own style of asking questions, right, to the AI or to the people, now the AI will generate a different type of code for each of this person, right?
That's what's so interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Now you put everything, you slam everything together, yes, it will work for that day, beautiful, right? But
Mhm.
then after 1 year or after 2 years, now if you have to revise that code for some reason, now you don't have, if you don't have the same 10 people who have asked the questions, or even if the same 10 people, it is going to be very difficult for them to find answers or debug or fix the problems that their AI introduced to them, right?
Right.
So
Well, it goes back to, I mean, I have run tech and product teams for a long time, and it goes back to the same problem you have of if your team is there, it's great, but with AI, Like every individual still is still human and still has their own point of view. So with AI, it's going to lead to that same problem of, right, if that person's not there, is it going to is and they took they train the data model to go into a certain area, a certain direction. If you don't have that person there, no one's going to be able to say like, oh no, that's not what I meant. But it's going to be happening at a time, or at an order of magnitude and speed that's so much faster than anything we've ever seen. So I like your idea of guardrails. And it should speak good to, a lot. It feels like our corporate worlds love frameworks and models. So it should allow, right, leadership to still say, hey, we have frameworks, but at the same time, you need real human intervention to use the critical thinking to say, wait, does that line up with our actual outcome, or is it just faster processed code that was somewhere directed off? Because it's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be complex quickly.
yeah. If you're not careful, what's going to happen is like, this year and next year, you'll end up writing, and you'll think that you're saving a lot of time and energy, but the following year in 2027, now you're going to clean up all the mess that you created, and you are going to spend a lot more energy than that you spent on creating this. Right? So that cleaning up the mess is going to be extremely difficult than being very careful when you are building it. Right. So that's what I would say. That and there are many others, like especially with respect to ethical definitions, and there's also this concept called ethical AI and unbiased AI. You just need to make sure, especially when you are in the process of decision making, right? Or if, let's say, just very very simple example, if you are in fintech world, if you are in let's say, a credit business, for example, right? Earlier, like till now, the decisions are like based on your credit scores and all. Now, you get the loan or you get credit or whatnot, but now you have AI getting introduced. Are you sure that AI is not biased towards something while approving or declining your credit, right? Or while you're saying that you're a credit worthy person or not credit worthy person, right? So things like that, you just need to be very careful. The businesses needs to develop these frameworks to monitor these kind of offsets,
Hmm.
and then as long as we use it with a good purpose, with proper guardrails, with proper frameworks, AI is going to be an amazing tool. But like any other tool, if you don't use it, then you're going to mess up.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, and it just brings up for me the importance of, again, looking at our role as human beings, because it we have the opportunity of, if you're building something, if you're a leader, and even if you don't understand the technology, your intentions and setting the intentions for your team, your culture, your company, right, to make sure that you are leading with ethical and good intentions, then you're not going to have to worry as much about it. If you're playing a risky game and maybe something that doesn't feel right in your gut, just be warned that the speed of AI is going to could amplify what could go wrong really quickly. So to leaders, right, my suggestion would be to take Praveen's advice and really just be leading with good intentions, not to hurt others, not to hurt yourself, right, all of that. Some of the very basic human stuff that has nothing to do with AI, but that I think has an opportunity to really guide us as we go through a very, very fast changed, uncertain time. None of us have the answers of where it's going. We just know we're all riding this wave of change, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. To your point, what I would also say is, this one I learned it from my mentors at my time in PayPal and others. Is there's a concept called EQ and IQ,
mhm.
right? Intelligence quotient and emotional quotient, right? Anything that you have to do with intelligent quotient, it's all data based, right? You could take as much of AI help as you want because it's all data that you can see, analyze, and make decisions and use AI. But for the other side, emotional quotient, right? So don't rely much on the AI yet. Right? Use your own gut feeling, use your own instinct as a human being, and then make the decisions. It could be related to anything. It could be related to your own employees, customers, or your partners, or whatnot. But EQ is still, needs to be done by human, and IQ you can depend on AI as much as you want.
And I love that you brought up the comparison of the two, because I think we're looking at, in the business world, we really have these models of operation that have been very IQ focused, right? Like it's been linear, analytical, very predictive and certain. And all of a sudden, we're stepping into a time where that linear process and linear thinking can't keep up. So we're going to need, right, leaders and people, all of us, to actually hone in and improve some of our EQ skills and bring them more into the forefront of business than they have been traditionally, definitely over the last couple of decades. Um, as we wrap up this session, I just have one more question for you. If you were to tell our listeners 3 human skills to work on, maybe towards their EQ, what would your advice be for, right, preparing leaders, your teams, yourself, your cultures for the change that AI is bringing? What would be the 3 human skills you'd recommend working on?
Okay. One, definitely listening, right? And then, being compassionate, right? And then, the third one is like, I would say, a more about, especially with respect to when it comes to AI, being more unbiased and ethical, developing that skill, especially when you're using AI tools. I think I would think of like those three comes to my mind immediately.
I like that: listening, compassion, and unbiased. I think if we all do that in our lives, not even around AI, we're all going to be feeling better and we're going to be, seeing more rewards for it. So, Praveen, I want to thank you for joining us today. Thank you to everyone who's listening. Praveen, is there anywhere you want, if our listeners want to connect with you, should they connect with you on LinkedIn or any place you'd want to send our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. LinkedIn. My name is Praveen Mamidi. Again, that's my profile too on LinkedIn. So you should be able to easily find, and I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for listening.